building is something that's just so cool. The fact that humans can make their own world and their own minds and then share and bring other people into it. It's such a crazy concept to think about. I just got done listening to an interview with Pierce Brown, and he was talking about Lightbringer when that book was launching. And some of the points that he had about world building were aspects of it. I love the idea of world building, looking at companies like Disney or Apple and these large brands, what they've been able to do. And there's just even parts that I never even thought about. One of those things is really the freedom that you have when you have a whole world that's already established. What do you like for Pierce Brown? What he's able to do in book 1 versus now book 6, the scenes are completely different. You could have the same scene, the same dialogue, but it's just different with the established world there. It's like, you already know, being in Pierce's world, anything could happen. Anybody could die at any time. Whereas in book 1, you're still trying to figure that out. You don't know how he's going to treat you emotionally. You don't know the absolute carnage he's about to put you through. But it's so cool that you can establish these worlds, how the world works, it's so cool you can establish how the world works and being able to build off that and make characters feel so much more real or experiences be that much more elevated. But one of the ideas that really stood out is he's talking about some of his characters in there, Severo and Darrow, and how they have like a fleshed out friendship. It's got its ups and downs. It just feels like a real bromance that they have going on there, and he's talking about how he created that. And it actually goes with how all the characters work together in that world, in the fact that they don't all have the same worldview. That they all view the world a little bit differently. How every single person views the world a little bit differently, but depending on their upbringing, they might view it a little bit like this. And the fact that they have that different worldview changes the interactions they have and creates conflict and creates that tension. And it's just so interesting seeing characters interact in that way, because so often in shows you see people that are always on the same page. It feels fake, it feels corny. Whereas when the characters have these different perspectives and how they see the world, all of a sudden everything shifts, everything's different. And there's actually tension between these characters, because even though they're on the same side, they might be going against each other, or all these different interactions. That just kind of opens up this whole Pandora's box of what could happen. And it's cool because bringing it back to marketing, if you build that world that customers are getting to experience with you, you don't have to keep establishing this world every time, but like the interactions you have with them are in a completely different context. For instance, Liquid Death, the other week they sent out this collaboration they did with The Deep for the launch of the new season of The Boys. And it's The Deep pitching water in front of a whole school kids, and he's smoking and pouring sugar on kids. It was like a whole, they framed it as a public apology. Hilarious. But since Liquid Death has already established their world, what they stand for, how they approach things, you see it and it makes sense. Whereas if Dasani, for instance, were to release that same video, you'd just be like, what in the world is this? Why are they partnering up with The Boys? Seems wrong. You guys don't stand for that. What are you talking about right now? But the Liquid Death has been super intentional with how they built their world, what they've associated with. And so they can do partnerships like this, and it makes sense. It's fun. It builds the world more rather than takes away. As oftentimes you see a lot of these partnerships and it's a paid promotion, and it feels that way. Whereas this paid promotion, it added to the world, which is really cool. And that's the part of marketing, that experience. That's my goal of being able to build. I don't know if that's going to be with a brand, for a product, a service. I'm not quite sure what that is yet, but I've been working towards it with both work and side projects, and I just can't wait to keep learning more about this.